Excuse me. Nickerson.
Yeah.
Farrell.
Yes.
Henderson.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Preston.
Yes.
Anthony Phillips.
Yes.
Prohl.
Yes.
Due to illness, the minutes of the previous meeting have not been distributed for review. And due to that, they have not been distributed. When watching the video back for the questions that Ms. Nickerson raised, we're unable to ascertain what the order was without the official minutes. So roll call on the minutes absent.
Greg Phillips.
What are you asking us to vote on exactly?
You asked for roll call or minutes to be approved. There are no minutes to approve, so I would assume that you would vote no.
You're trying to vote minutes out like you would a council member? The minutes of a meeting, a board meeting, especially a council meeting, are extremely important. Obviously, we can't tell what happened at the last meeting.
Miss Nickerson, this is my mistake. I was out last Monday,
I
and
understand.
I've been,
I was here.
Yeah, I've been sick all week, and
I sympathize with
my my understanding, and I made a mistake. I didn't bring them with me tonight, so I apologize, and I don't have my laptop either.
I understand
So,
that. I
that's-
absolutely understand that and I sympathize with that. The fact remains, though, that we need those minutes.
That can't be produced.
You weren't here. Does Miss Lamb have the minutes?
No, I have them there. I have them. I just don't have them physically on me.
We could vote on them at the next meeting.
We could vote on them this meeting and vote no that they weren't available, and then fix them at the next meeting. Then vote next meeting, which was the original intention. Ms. Nickerson, what are your thoughts?
You're the president. What do you suggest?
My suggestion would have been, as a member of council, you brought your concerns up before the meeting went live so that we could work together as a body to correct this in an appropriate manner. Did you receive your packet this week?
I'm not going to argue with you. I did receive the packet.
You asked for what my opinion was, and that's my opinion. Next to our Finance Committee, Mr. Tony Phillips. On mic, please, Ms. Nickerson, if you have comments. No comments by Ms. Nickerson. You completed?
Yes, finance report is complete.
Next, moving to Parks and Recreation Committee, Ms. Henderson.
Thank you, President Geringer. Parks and Rec has no items on tonight's agenda. However, I would like to call a Parks and Rec committee meeting at 6:30 p.m. on January 9th, 2023 to discuss the Wade Street park potential. And that is all Parks and Rec has tonight.
Thank you. Next to our Safety and Service Committee, Ms. Preston.
Thank you, President Geringer. Safety Service has 2 items on the agenda tonight. The first one will be number 3. It's first reading of an ordinance providing an agreement between the City of Chiillicothe, Ohio and the Ross County Commissioners whereby the City of Chiillicothe, Ohio will continue to be eligible through 2023 for state reimbursement of costs incurred in appointing counsel for indigent criminal defendants and declaring an emergency. Number 4 is the next item. It'll be a first reading of ordinance amending sections 521.17A titled Maximum Height of Grass and Weeds of the codified ordinances of the City of Chiillicothe and declaring an emergency. Safety Service has nothing else this evening.
Thank you. Next, our Engineering Committee and City Service Transit Committee, Mr. Farrow.
Thank you. On behalf of both of my committees, I have nothing on the agenda and nothing new to report. Thank you.
And finally, our Utilities Committee, Mr. Prohl.
The Utilities Committee has no items on tonight's agenda. So that
Ne-
concludes my report.
Thank you. Next to the reports of our officials. In the absence of Mr. Feeney, the mayor, we'll move to our auditor, Ms. Spetnagel.
As Councilman Phillips mentioned, there's two financial items on the agenda tonight. One is for the 2023 budget, and then the other one is to appropriate additional funds to make payroll and fringes and pension for the remainder of the year. Those are two both very important ordinances that get accomplished. So I just ask for everybody's support in getting that accomplished. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Spetnagel. We'll now move on to audience participation. Council Rule 22 does limit each speaker to 5-minute presentation, a total limitation of 15 minutes per any single subject. If you get to the point where you're getting close to 1 minute left, I'll try to indicate to you to summarize your presentation. Anyone who wishes to speak, we do need, for our records, your name and address.
Oh, my name is the Reverend Terry Williams. I reside at 47.5 East Main Street here in the city of Chiillicothe. And I just have a question about the agenda tonight. 2 items from the previous agenda, items 2 and 3 from the agenda of December 12th, were neither disposed of during that last meeting, nor do they appear on tonight's agenda. I'm wondering why these items are missing from tonight's agenda, given that Council Rule 7F prescribes that all unpassed but read ordinances and resolutions shall, after the first reading and the first meeting of a new council, continue on the agenda unless otherwise taken off the agenda by an action of the council. Thank you.
Great point, Mr. Williams. We'll take a look into that and address it at the next meeting. Appreciate your input. Seeing no additional participation, we'll now move to old business. Does anyone have any old business that they'd like to bring up this evening? Not seeing any participation or correspondence received by the clerk.
Thank you, President Geringer. I have not received anything.
Moving to new business. Does anyone have any new business that they'd like to bring up at this time? We'll now move to our legislation. We have 4 items on the agenda this evening. Ms. Moss, whenever you're ready, we'll start with item number 1.
Thank you, President Geringer. Item number 1 is the first reading of an ordinance to make appropriation for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Chiillicothe, State of Ohio, during the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2023, and ending December 31, 2023, and declaring an emergency.
That item will move to our next agenda, item number 2.
Item number 2 is the first reading of an ordinance appropriating funds for the purpose of making payroll, fringe, and pensions for the remainder of 2022 and declaring an emergency.
President Geringer,
Yes, Mr. Tony Phillips.
at this time, I would like to make a motion to waive the 3-read rule.
Motion by Mr. Phillips, seconded by Ms. Henderson. Roll call on the motion.
Greg Phillips.
Yes.
Prohl.
Yes.
Anthony Phillips.
Yes.
Payne.
Yes.
Nickerson.
Yes.
Preston.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Henderson.
Yes.
Farrow.
Yes.
Roll call on the ordinance.
Payne.
Yes.
Nickerson.
Yes.
Prohl.
Yes.
Anthony Phillips.
Yes.
Greg Phillips.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Preston.
Yes.
Henderson.
Yes.
Farrow.
Yes.
Ordinance passes. Item number 3.
Item number 3 is the first reading of an ordinance providing for an agreement between the City of Chiillicothe, Ohio, and the Ross County Commissioners, whereby the City of Chiillicothe, Ohio, will continue to be eligible through 2023 for state reimbursement of costs incurred in appointing counsel for indigent criminal defendants and declaring an emergency.
That item will move to our next agenda, item number 4.
Item number 4 is the first reading of an ordinance amending section 521.17A titled Maximum Height of Grass and Weeds of the codified ordinances of the City of Chiillicothe and declaring an emergency.
That item will move to our next agenda. Is there any additional items that need to be brought up at this time? If not, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Motion by Ms. Henderson, seconded by Mr. Farrow. Roll call on that motion.
Nickerson. Yes. Prohl.
Yes.
Farrow.
Yes.
Henderson.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Greg Phillips.
Yes.
Anthony Phillips.
Yes.
Preston.
Yes.
Payne.
Yes.
We are adjourned. Have a wonderful evening and a Merry Christmas.